Okay, so I have a question. Ladies, do you want men to be fathers or not? Do you want men to be fathers or not? So here you're gonna have a study. You're gonna have it's gonna show a study, which I've also said I've said this for a while now too, but the study says that men are more likely than women to want kids. But has that always been true? Right. But I've said like the things that back in the day, women wanted kids more than the men. Now I say like in today's age, men want kids more than the women. You know what I mean? It's like it's flipped. Now, for some weird reason, even though men want kids now more than they did in the past, women are still chastising them for wanting to be fathers. This is once you see this video, you're gonna be like, how they're still trying to make men the villain here in this video. You're gonna be surprised. Just take a listen.
Are women all baby crazy, or is it possible that men want kids more than women want kids? New research has confirmed that it's easier to want to raise children when you don't actually expect to be the one doing the raising. More than 20% of the women said they never wanted to have kids, but only 15% of the men said the same. Meanwhile, 57% of the men said they did want to have kids someday versus 45% of the women. I love this observation. Media and pop culture often portray young women as baby-seeking, family-craving, biological clock-ticking time bombs. And this professor of gender and economics said this is a very, very strange perspective because children have always been an enormous amount of work for women. Yeah, we knew. In fact, it was women who fought for birth control in the first place. And these findings mirror data on fertility intentions from studies going back decades. It's almost like the people whose lives are less likely to be interrupted or negatively impacted by having kids are the more likely to want kids the most, but also to spread lies about who actually wants to raise the children. Are women all baby crazy?
Now, the way she's framing it is that I guess men don't want to do the raising of the kids, but that's I'm just sorry, it's just not true. Like, especially in today's age, men have I'm talking about there men have stayed in certain, like there's men that like they talk about, well, average men, and you're only making this amount of money. Well, there's a lot of men that will just find a job and they could make more than 70 or 80K a year, but they know it's going to take time away from them being with the kids. So they make a decision. So they have a decision to make. And a lot of them will stay at one place. I'm talking about they'll stay at one job because they know if they uproot the kids and start moving them around, it's going to mess them up. So I don't know how she can take a study like this and make them basically. I guess her putting this out there, she's trying to show that men need the woman more than the women need the men in terms of when it comes to kids. But if this is true, that means all this stuff about deadbeat dads and all this stuff and dads being a bad, they don't want it contradicts literally all of that. So if the study is showing men are more likely than women to want to have kids, right? Then it comes into to question, because she's basically trying to prove women we never wanted kids. But now it really comes into question: do women really love kids, bro? I really have to really question this, because now they're trying to make men look bad for wanting kids because men aren't the ones that are really doing the actual child raising, bruh. And by the way, if you divorced your man, you cannot be talking about this. If you had a kid out of wedlock, you have no say in this study, in my opinion. So that's basically like 83% of the black community sorry, 83% of the black women out of this conversation in general. And if you divorced the man, if you initiated the divorce, particularly when you talk about no fault divorce, then you're definitely out of this discussion. So that's basically, yeah, that's most of the black women then. And then more than half of the white women. Now the Latinas, I'll do another study with that anyway. But if this is true, right? And it is true, I really have to question then, because they'll say all of this, right? And then now I have to call into question, okay, why is it you'll have like an NFL player knock up abroad, and then none of this shit comes up? All of a sudden, oh no, I want this kid. Really? So you killed two, like, remember the NBA player Anthony Edwards? He knocks up this IG model broad. Now all of a sudden, oh, I feel uncomfortable with getting an abortion with this one. And she literally said, I had an abortion before, and I regret it. I'm like, oh, you see. So now, what is this? So with this being said, I don't know what she's trying to prove. That basically, I guess she's trying to prove that, oh, we don't need kids and blah blah blah. So this is so okay, fine. I feel you on that. That's fine. But now I got to call into question: do women actually like kids? I don't think they do. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I think women don't like kids because I've heard teachers. I'm talking about plenty of female teachers be like, I hate kids, right? And I used to be. I'm like, so why are you teaching? You know what I mean? Right. But I really have to call into question: do women actually like kids? Because they always talk about, well, what's this going to do to my body? What is going to do to my career? What is going to, and basically, because the studies have came out that men want kids more than women, now they're trying to make it because men are not doing the child raising. That's not true. It's not in 2024. Not in 2020. Not in 2024, where men are very, especially like they've been like they've done shame. They've done had TV programs. They've said, oh, it's not, if you're giving child support, no, the child support's not enough. You have to be involved. So men have literally gone out their way to do all of this. And now you're gonna come out here and claim empowerment over what? Not needing him, not really wanting them as much as men. Research consistently showing motherhood less appealing than fatherhood. So what are you trying? What are you trying to say here? This is just another example of women just hating being women. So that's also my opinion on that end. But let's take a listen again.
Or is it possible that men want kids more than women want kids? New research has confirmed.
But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? So the man doesn't want to be in the kid's life is a problem. The man wants to be a father. It's a problem. What? This is why this is why I tell dudes, look, man, if you ever get into a situation where it's like you and your baby mama don't work out, especially if you have a kid out of wedlock, which is your fault as a man too. But if you get into that situation, I always say this: file for full custody, or just pay your child support and just leave that alone. If she's asking you to drop off the kid and do all this stuff, but she's still taking child support, don't even just give her the child support, because that's what she wants from you. She just wants that check. That's what she wants, because women don't want fathers. They don't even like kids. So we already know they don't even want the kid to succeed in life. So this is why she's going to separate you from the kid. So just give her the check and just move on with your life. That's my opinion, because she's making it like it's a problem for a man to want to be a dad. Like, what do you want the man to do to hit for him to start getting pregnant? Is that the problem? Because men are not the ones going through the childbirth pain. So because of that, men should be punished because they're not women. I mean, what? I mean, bruh. So this is clearly this seems what's to be. This is the problem. They're just jealous. It looks like that. It's like they're jealous that women that men don't have to go necessarily through in terms of their body changing once they go through the the childbirthing, the child rearing, and all this stuff. They're just mad of the changes that women go through when they go through childbirth, and men don't necessarily have to go through that physical change. And now they want to punish men for that, or basically they want to dismiss the impact of a father because their body's not going through that same change.
That it's easier to want to raise children when you don't actually expect to be the one doing the raising. More than 20% of the women said they never wanted to have kids, but only 15% of the men said the same. Meanwhile, 57% of the men said they did want to have kids someday versus 45% of the women. I love this observation. Media and pop culture
But what's wrong with that? I don't get what's wrong with that.
Often portray young women as baby-seeking, family-craving, biological clock-ticking time bombs. And this professor of gender and economics said this is a very...
But technically this does happen, especially when you're dealing with a woman that never had kids and then she hits that 30 mark. That's when her body really starts being on that, I want kids. And then this is where men, you get easily trapped when you're dealing with a woman from 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and above, obviously. But usually if over like in your 30s, particularly in your mid 30s, if you're a woman that doesn't have a kid yet, and you're at that mid 30 range, you're getting to mid 30s and above. The reason why I don't even include that when it comes to the baby craving, because at that point, you're at high risk of hitting early menopause, if you're like in your late 30s, in your mid to late 30s and above, and you haven't had a kid yet. It's one thing if you already had a kid, that you can definitely have it again, even later on. And you'll hit menopause later on in your late 40s, 50s, you know what I'm saying? But when you don't have a kid over your mid 30s and above, you're at high risk of menopause. They've done studies on this.
A very strange perspective because children have always been an enormous amount of work for women. Yeah, we knew. In fact, it was.
They always say an enormous amount of work, an enormous this. Look, I believe obviously motherhood is, you could say, it's the most important job, but the hardest job, I would say no. It's like it's almost like when we talk about the quarterback position in football. Is it the most important position? Yes. Is it the hardest? No. The quarterback is the most catered to, right? The mothers are more catered to a lot. They're promoted to be more catered to, but is it the hardest job? No. I just had to sneak that in there.
Was women who fought for birth control in the first.
Margaret Sanger. Is it Margaret Sanger? Like it's let me hold on. Let me let me do something for you real quick. Because wasn't like they always be quoting Margaret Sanger, and they found like particularly black women. I'm like, you do know that the feminists that y'all follow, they be worshiping Margaret Sanger, and Margaret Sanger has said some things about ninjas in terms of extermination, like basically she had said in I'm paraphrasing, of course, that we don't want the word to get out that we just want to exterminate the black race. But black women will still uplift the feminists and really think that the Caucasian feminists are their friends and shit. That should still be wild to me. Anyway.
First place. And these findings mirror data on fertility intentions from studies going back decades. It's almost like the people whose lives are less likely to be interrupted or negatively impacted by having kids are the more likely to want kids the most.
And again, that's not true. They don't look at the little sacrifices that men do. People don't understand. Even the jobs that men take. People just think that men just love taking certain jobs. I think the problem is with women. They think that when they look at jobs or they think of male patriarchy, they're just looking at those men in those big offices and those high rise. They think this is what most men's jobs are. And them telling people what to do. They think that's what most men's job is. Like that their perception of reality, it really shows that most women don't look at most men as human, because they clearly are not looking at the plumbers, they're not looking at the electricians, they're not looking at the civil engineers, they're not looking at the like they're not looking at anything that they don't see on TV. all the people, basically all the male professions that they don't see on TV. So they'll see a cop, they'll see a fireman, they'll see somebody military, right? But they'll look at a welder, right? A welder, a meal worker, and just be like, "What is that?" Because they just don't look at them as human. They just don't. Shout out to Undead Chronic.
But also to spread lies about who actually wants to raise the children. Are women all baby crazy?
And like what she's saying is not true, and it's weird because when you're looking at the comment section, it's all lies. It's when you look at the comment section for this specific video, and as I'm scrolling down, most of it is this, because their bodies aren't impacted, and you're just like, you really have to call into question. They keep talking about their bodies. They keep talking about, oh, I would have had a better career. And now I really now have to look at women in a different light, particularly in America, where it'll be this, because I really got to look at them different, especially since that abortion thing when it was marching for abortion. I really had to question about. I'll literally be like, should we switch it to Happy's Mother's Day, or the way Corey Holcomb would say it, Happy She Kept It Day? I'm just gonna have to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna celebrate Mother's Day no more, dog. I'm not. I'm just gonna be like, Happy She Kept It Day. Not for the people that I know, obviously, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, in general, I'm just gonna be like, Happy She Kept It Day. because you kept that one for some reason, because you're putting all this information out there just to act like men are selfish for wanting to be fathers because it's not going to impact their bodies. but women don't really need to have kids because women actually don't really want to have kids. All right, fine. So why are we praising you guys for single motherhood again? If you guys don't want kids now, also then I got to come into question. This is where if somebody comes to the question, be like, okay, why did you keep this one? I now like I really have to like really. Anytime a woman has a baby, I literally now have to put into mind, okay, why did she keep that one? Okay, she's married. All right. All right. Oh, she's not married. Okay, why did she keep this one? Because she killed a lot of other ones. So now it's a fair question. It's a fair question. You can't even be. You can't. I don't want them because these gonna be the same hoes. Gonna be mad at Corey Holcomb or me or one of these people when it hits Happy Mother's when we go Happy Mother's Day, and then Corey Holcomb says Happy She Kept It Day. Then these gonna be the same broads mad, and then but they just dropped a video where they're showing that men want to be fathers more than women want to be mothers. or they show that the research shows that motherhood is less appealing than fatherhood. We should be getting paid for domestic labor and all this bullshit. Like, this is crazy. Anyway.